Let's face it, it does take courage to start a startup, especially if you're seeking venture funding, and even more especially if we're in the technology and internet space, because the competition is fierce. Your competitors can be ruthless, and you can be disinterrupted in a nanosecond. It takes visionary leadership to navigate the shoals of the most competitive business environments, the volatility in the technology and internet industry. Now, if that's the way it is now, imagine what it was like some 22 years ago in 1994, when, as I look at this audience, some of you were in diapers. So, in 1994, I left a partnership at a major international law firm where I was a complex litigator, and I joined my childhood friend who left her profession. We raised some venture money, which was not easy to do then. Can you imagine this? There was no crowd sourcing. There was no crowdfunding. Kickstarter didn't exist. So we shared a vision to use the internet to create a platform to engage and empower the digital citizen to come. We call them netizens, to get beyond the spin of the big media companies and to access the thought leaders in our country and their work product at leading think tanks, advocacy, NGOs, and back then, if you can imagine this, even political parties. We responded to an invitation from Microsoft and submitted a business plan to create a forum on the Microsoft network, which was planned to start in August of 1995. And in 3 or 4 short months, amazingly, we found ourselves in Steve Ballmer's office out in Redmond, signing our contract with Microsoft and hearing about his quiet passion for public policy. Fast forward to August of 1995, an amazing content team, an amazing tech team we assembled, somehow complied with our contract, and we launched our forum along with the Microsoft Network, Windows 95, and for those of you who are old enough to remember, the Rolling Stones. Now, my partner and I spent a good bit of September and October of that year pitching our new service on MSN to the leaders of our nation's political parties, advocacy organizations, think tanks, NGOs, and they were harrowing and hysterical days. One day in Washington, D.C., we pitched the Democratic Leadership Council, which counted as members Senator Joe Lieberman, future Vice President Al Gore, future President Bill Clinton, and the executive director carefully listened to us, said we were courageous, visionary, and they were all in. The next day, we met with the chairman of a conservative think tank, a preeminent one in the United States. He was imposing. He listened to the same pitch that we'd made the day before, and he announced that we must be courageous because we certainly didn't have any vision. The internet, he said, would be a flash in the pan. His organization would never have a website, and they would never share their valuable content with our so-called digital citizens. Needless to say, we didn't get their business. The real pressure we got, though, in September and October was from Microsoft, the 500-pound gorilla in Redmond, and they wanted us to spend a small treasure and acquire these developer tools to create content on Russ Siegelman's team's proprietary network for MSN. The culmination came November 1st in a command conference call where we were leveraged, we were pressured to buy these valuable tools. After the call, my partner and I sat down. We agreed it was a determinative inflection point for our business. And we said there was no way that Microsoft, with all of its intellectual and financial capital, would not migrate MSN to an HTML-based, web-based platform, probably within about 6 months. We didn't know if we would lose our contract. We didn't know if we'd be embarrassed among these leaders we'd been speaking with the past couple of months. We got our decision in about 4 weeks. December 4th, not that I remember the date, Microsoft announced in a press release to the world that in fact it was migrating MSN to an HTML web-based platform in 1996. After breathing a sigh of relief, glowing in the vindication of our perhaps courageous decision, we broke out in hysterical laughter because we realized that the 500-pound gorilla in Redmond must have been planning this for at least 9 months, the entire duration of our independent content providers and us. So they were pressuring us to spend a small treasure on these development tools to create dazzling content on a network that they planned to abandon. Thank you.